Welcome to my channel. My name's Jared. This is another Sunday update video. I also post silent build videos on Wednesdays, so be sure to check those out as well. Today, we're going to go over a lot of projects. I've got a lot going on in the shop here. If you haven't seen my last Wednesday's video, you should check that out. That was on the Honda S600. I did the oil change and drive. I love that video, especially the last minute and a half of that I thought was just awesome. So check that out if you haven't seen it. But today we're going to talk about lots of other things. There's tons going on in here. So I haven't been filming any build videos in the last few weeks since I finished the Model T, but I've been very busy getting ready for what's going to be coming up next on the channel. So I've done some metal repair on the Land Cruiser. I got this rocker panel in. I'm still working on patching some of the floors. You can see I have that toolbox area taken out. So I'm repairing all of that. So the metal work is starting to come along on the Land Cruiser, but it will be a little while before I'm actually putting out videos on that. And we'll talk about that in a minute. I've got the Beetle here in the shop. You can see there's been a few additions since you guys saw this last. I've basically finished the car now. I'm gonna do a few more videos with it, and then I'm most likely gonna list it for sale. So if you guys are interested, you can send me a message. Otherwise, in the next few weeks or months, it'll probably go up on eBay. Anyway, you can see I've added a surfboard and a cooler onto the roof rack, which I think just really completes the look of the car. But yeah, so basically I had a few small things to do on this. There were a few electrical issues to deal with. I cleaned up the trunk, got a spare tire for it, put some new seals around the bumpers, painted the inside of the bumpers, just a bunch of little things that it needed. There was a wheel bearing that was making some noise. That was kind of the main thing preventing me from driving it, but I fixed that. So I've been driving it a lot, actually. It runs really well. It's a really great car. So anyway, the Beetle is basically done. There is going to be a video coming up very soon where I compare the Beetle to the Model T. And I think you'll be surprised to find out how similar these two cars are in lots of ways. Production numbers, value, you know, lots and lots of ways they're very, very similar. So I am going to do a video on that soon. So that'll be coming up in the near future. The 356, I am still acquiring more and more parts. I've ordered almost everything I need for the engine that I can order in advance. I do still have to pull the engine out and inspect the crank, and then I'll find out what size bearings I need and all that stuff, and then I can have the heads rebuilt. So that stuff is still going to take a while, but the parts that I'm going to need to put it back together, I wanted to make sure they were all in stock and I could get them, and I have almost everything I need now for that. So I'm getting really close to getting started on the 356 again. Also, I mentioned in the past there was going to be an article about this car in the Porsche 356 registry magazine, and that just came out. This is the latest magazine. They do it every 2 months. So let's see if I can get to it here. Here is the article. It came out really good. It's like a 4 or 5 page article. This guy, Peter, was great. He called me, interviewed me, he wrote the story, he did a fantastic job. I'm very, very pleased with it. If you guys are a member of 356 Registry, definitely check it out. If you're not a member, you may want to consider becoming one if you're interested in these cars. It's definitely worth the annual fee to get the magazines. It's not a very expensive membership fee. If you are not a member and you want to look at the article, I have posted photos of this on my Instagram page, so you can check it out there. It's just J&H Classics on Instagram. It's pretty easy to find. But so anyway, that's the article for the 356. That's very exciting. I have never had anyone write an article about me or anything I've ever built before, so that's really amazing. So thank you again, guys, for that. So yeah, the Beetle, the Land Cruiser, the 356. What else is going on in the shop here, you may have noticed, is the Yamaha is back. So this bike I bought apparently about a year ago, it looks like. I took it all apart with the intention of restoring it, and then I decided it would be better not to restore it but to keep it original. I like the original look. It seems like a lot of motorcycle guys also like it to be original, and actually sometimes it's more valuable that way. So anyway, I decided after taking it apart I'm not going to do a full nut and bolt restoration and make it look brand new. In fact, I want to keep it as original looking as possible. So I'm going to start putting this back together soon, because this is a quick project that I can finish up in just a few videos and have it back on the road and be driving it. So People had asked me when I was going to finish this, and that got me kind of looking at the old video, and then I started watching a bunch of other motorcycle videos on YouTube, and I just all of a sudden decided it's a perfect time of year. I really enjoy riding this thing, and there's not that much left to actually put it back together. I have almost all the parts already, so I'm going to go ahead and put this thing back together. So that's going to be an upcoming project very soon. That's going to happen before we get back on the 356. And then we're going to see, I haven't decided if I'm going to be switching back and forth between 356 and Land Cruiser videos, or if I'm just going to focus on the 356, finish it basically as much as I can start to finish. So when I get back on the mechanical side, just go one video after the other on the mechanical side until this thing's back on the road, assuming there are no long pauses in between where I have to wait on parts or repair, or like services. And then I would go to the Land Cruiser and do the same thing. The issue with the Land Cruiser is this stage of the build takes a very long time. So the body work and this metal repair, these things are not going to happen in a week's period in between videos. So in order for me to do the Land Cruiser videos non-stop, just a continuous series, I need to do a lot of the work in the background. So I may finish the metal work, start painting on this thing, and move along on it several videos worth of material before I actually start posting those videos, and in the meantime finish up the 356. That way, by the time that the 356 is done, I could focus on the Land Cruiser, and it could be a continuous, steady flow of videos coming out without any big pauses due to just how long it takes to do that part of the work. So we'll see. That's kind of what I'm leaning towards, but if that doesn't work, then it may just switch back and forth. I may do a video on the 356 and then one on the Land Cruiser and then back and forth. But regardless, I do want to get both of them done quickly, and I haven't lost interest in any of my projects, really. They will all get done eventually. So there's going to be progress on both of those very soon. You can see out here, I've got the frame for the Land Cruiser, so I'm ready to put the body on there just as soon as it's ready to go on. I've also got the frame here for the Yamaha. And so like I mentioned, I'm not going to restore it. However, I am doing a little bit of work to it and prep to it. So the frame was rusty. The whole thing was quite rusty. So I did treat the frame with the rust reformer. And that rust reformer makes everything a little bit darker. So instead of this being like an orange rusty color, it's got kind of this dark, almost purpley color where the rust is. So you can still clearly see that it's original and that it's aged, but it's not, you know, the exposed rust. It's much more protected and it looks a little bit nicer, and you don't get dirty when you touch it. You don't have rust on your hands just from touching the bike. So I have done that. I also, let's see, the wheels are back in here. I'm going through the engine a little bit. I'm not going to tear it all apart and rebuild it, but I am cleaning it, and I'll be adjusting the oil mixing pump here and replacing some of the gaskets, you know, new spark plug. I'll rebuild the carburetor, all that stuff. You can see here, I've already put new tires and tubes on the wheels. So I've got a new chain in there, you know, all the oil and stuff like that I need to replace. So I am going to do a very thorough maintenance on the bike, but I'm not going to do any kind of major cosmetic restoration. I'm just going to put it back together. It's still going to be original and still show its age, and I can get it on the road soon because I really just kind of want to take it for a ride. So anyway, that's the Yamaha. That's 356, that's the Beetle, that's the Land Cruiser. The Model T, not much has changed since we last saw it. I did fix the generator. I bought a rebuilt generator, so that fixed that. There's an issue with the horn that I mentioned before, and somebody pointed out that it could be a magneto horn, which means it only runs off the magneto when the car is running. It won't work off the battery. And that was great advice. I checked that, and that did work. I connected it to the magneto just by hand wiring it with the car running, and it honked twice. Both times I tested it. Then I wired it into the switch, and I couldn't get it to work. When I hit the switch, it kind of, the engine bogged down a little bit, like I was shorting out the magneto, but there was no sound from the horn. So then I went back and wired it by hand the same way to try to get it to work again, and it didn't work that way either. So it could be that I shorted something out in the horn, or it could be some other issue that I'm having, but I'm close. The issue with the horn, though, it didn't sound that cool. It wasn't like an Auga horn or anything really cool like that. It did sound a little old, but it didn't sound that cool. So I may take it apart and try to fix it and get it to work. And just the fact that I now know it's a magneto horn is a huge step forward from where I was before. So maybe I'll get that one fixed and I'll get it to work. Or maybe I'll just replace it with a cool Uga horn. You know, we'll see. But anyway, everything else on the car works. I've been driving it and enjoying it. The neighbors love the car. Lots of people have been asking for rides in it. So the Model T is great. I'm loving it. And there will be some more videos coming out soon. Like I said, there'll be the comparison video before too long with the Beetle and the Model T. And in that one, I'll break down the cost of both cars. So that'll be very interesting to see. So anyway, I think that's pretty much it for this week, guys. Thanks for watching. And if you haven't already, please consider subscribing.